Good evening, Speed Gaming fans. We have a heck of a match for you tonight, I'm thinking. Let's do some introductions first, get that out of the way. I'm El Markin. I'm joined in the booth by Cyrus, and tracking tonight we have Ragnarok784. Cyrus, what do you think about these flags these very daring runners are running tonight?
They're pretty brave. All of your progression is going to be loose tonight. Our only incentive items are going to come from main NPCs, and they will all be the various caster items, which are going to have random magic for you tonight. So it could be a nuke item, it could be a lamp item. We don't know what we're going to see.
Yeah, that should definitely keep runners on their toes, and I'm thinking that's going to really, let me think, kind of tweak their strategies as they approach this run. So with these flags, we also have two forced classes. So the character in the first slot is forced, looks to be black belt. The character in the last slot is forced, which also looks to be a white mage. And then with our enemies scaling, well, at least bosses, it can go up to 300%. So you kind of have to start thinking long term, even at the start of your seed.
I feel like they're probably happy to have seen that black belt be forced. If it wasn't there, I think a lot of them would have been taking one. Thankfully, the EXP tonight looks very generous with 2.5x plus 300 and an extra 10% per key item they pick.
Yeah, that'll be really favorable to these black belt strats, because with these clamping, or with these scalings, I should say, that's going to be really, I feel like you're going to be relying on that black belt's fist power to really push your way and punch your way through a lot of the scene.
Oh yeah, with those 300% clamped bosses, you want a black belt. A knight will get you there usually, but it can get scary.
Yeah, and the other side of the coin too is going to be just knowing there's item magic shuffled on. You never know what you're going to get. So it's nice seeing the white mage at least forced, because that's going to guarantee you things like Invis 2. You may want some defense stacking with a Topher of this caliber. So looks like we should be starting in just a second. The gates have dropped, and we'll see which way the runners go and see how they start their early game.
One other oddity I noticed going over the flags, at the bottom of the list in a tab I don't usually open for bug fixes, weapon changes have been turned off. So these are vanilla weapon stats, which means crit chance and things like that are kind of buggy.
So we got a wall weapon from the king, but wall's also for sale in level 1 white. We've also got nuke level 1. That'll be very nice for some of our runners who opted for the 2 red mage strat.
Yeah, and cure 4, so I mean, red magic's looking pretty good today.
Yeah, I know we're only 30 seconds in, but even with just that level 1 magic, I'm going to give the edge to Caleb right now. I think that double nuke is going to go a long way with this skill. I think that lock 2 is going to be really vital. And I think Caleb may have hit a wrong button. Or he's redoing his party comp based on the magic he saw.
Still going with those 2 reds.
Yeah, may have just been an accidental button press. I mean, it happens to all of us. So, right-hand side of the screen, we got Life Reboot being the first to take down Garland with that lovely nuke spell. Edgeworth wisely, I think, checking those boxes, just because, as Siren has pointed out, all our progression, so to speak, is going to be loose in this. So it may be in Temple of Fiends, it may not be, but I think this is a smart check by him.
Yeah, and the princess had a saber hammer for us today, which is going to be really nice if you need to boost up your damage for those bosses later.
Yeah, I see them relying on that, because that's essentially their power bonk in hammer form, so...
If they can manage to find a ruse item out there, it'll practically be vanilla.
It will, and something on Edgeworth's pack had glance, and that's not something you want to see early in the game.
At least it's just one person. It's not like it's damage poison or something.
Yeah, that's a good point. Alright, so let's see. We've got Caleb working his way up to Temple of Fiends. We have Life Reboot checking in to check some boxes in the toys.
Yeah, the only progression they're starting with today is the bridge, so there should be some early items in some of these chests to help them move along through the seed a little.
So far, nothing in any boxes to speak of. And Edge having a little bit of time with Garland at the moment. Ooh, looks like Garland rolled over 216 HP. That's not something we saw with Life Reboot, because I think his nuke hit for 300 and some change.
I don't think those HP are going to save him today.
No. I think Edge is just in a tough spot because he only has the one nuke charge, so he has to have it roll high enough to kill Garland. Otherwise, he's got to trek back to Canaria, use the inn, get his spell charges back, and then run back up there. So
That's one of the problems if you're going to head straight up to Toph and blow one of your charges on the way.
no, absolutely. So we have Exit, and I think that was Life in level 2 White Magic. There it is.
More great red mage stuff. Level 2 white magic being the only level where the red mage gets everything.
So one of the flags that's Tri-State tonight was Unsafe Pirates, and all they're doing is punching, so at this point we're inclined to think they're probably pretty safe pirates, especially with that level 1 nuke in their...
Yeah, worst case scenario, you reset a time or two, and they pick up a confused shirt for their trouble. That might help out, maybe.
Yeah, it's got its very niche uses, especially against a carry fight. I know we've seen that in a few races recently where Confused kind of carried the day. At least camping gear is pretty cheap in Provoca as well, so that'll hopefully let our runners get around the opposite direction in the continent.
They did. Open progression is completely open and extended.
So that means we're hoping to see something. If they're lucky, they'll see something in Dwarf Cave. If they're not so lucky, we might be seeing an early marsh play here at the moment.
I like the idea of marsh.
I do as well, especially level 1 nuke, level 2 exit, level 2 life. There's not a lot of risk inherent in it. Everyone's got some kind of nuke caster on their team, so that should really take care of a lot of the issues most people see down in. And I think houses were pretty cheap in Canaria as well, so at least you can, use a house after a first dive, get your spell charges back, dive the other half of the dungeon if you're feeling, inclined.
Good to hear about houses, because it looks like Life Reboot's headed up here for a possible pop grind.
I like that play with level 1 nuke, knowing, again, that progression's going to be on the other half of the continent, down on the south. So everyone kind of...
Experience is high enough that I just don't know if you're going to need it.
Yeah, I think it's just a safety thing at this point. Just, you never know what kind of nastiness can roll down in Marsh Cave, assuming that's where our progression items... And even just getting over triple-digit HP on the Black Mage and White Mage might be all they need to really make sure their dives are a success.
That's true, and he did only have one mage, so his charges are going to be limited until he gets up into the teens.
Takes out a giant pack, gets a couple levels. Caleb's taken out his pirates. Will Bloodworth is currently fighting his group of pirates. None of the pirates lasting long with that nuke in their arsenal either. Making very short work of that fight. I like this play by Edgeworth right now, picking up those silver bracelets for his backline.
Silver bracelets are a solid pickup. I mean, if you can't get gold, you're not going to be able to afford it at this point anyways, probably.
Yeah, I agree. And it's, with his comp, that's going to give some survivability to that black belt, assuming that's who he chooses to be his main damage dealer for the end game, because I believe we also have thief fixes on, or not thief fixes, but thief rebalancing, I should say, where they get double hit growth. So even the ninjas can be pretty capable as offensive melee warriors later in the game as well.
Absolutely. Not quite a black belt, though. 300% clamps. I think we're going to see a lot of black belt action.
Yep, I agree with you, and I think if I was running this, I think that'd be the play I would make as well. Just prioritizing that black belt and getting him up to punching speed ASAP. So it looks like Life is only taking a couple fights on that pop grind, and then heading back. It may be because he lost a character, maybe because he's out of nuke charges. I think it's the last. Edgeworth making his way over to Dwarf Cave to see what they've got.
That
money.
Does not look like progression.
Not at all. I hate to say commentator curse, but sorry in advance for Marsh Cave, everyone. Though we can still not have to do a marsh grind or marsh dive necessarily. We could have a progression item for sale in Elfland, and that might open up things for our run.
I don't think so.
I mean, they might have the herb there. Oh, well, no, never mind. Yeah, everything, they can't get anything but item. I take it back. Marsh Cave is the play. Well, unless we got Key from Elfland, that would open up a lot of treasure checks for everybody. But at this point in time, I'm saying Marsh Cave is the
good point. I was just thinking of all the travel items which apparently don't appear in shops.
Yeah. So Key, I think, would be the best outcome if it's an Elfland. I'm thinking at this point, though, odds are we're probably going to find maybe 2 key items down here in Marsh, is my guess.
Yeah, we'll probably, unless it's the canoe, it has to be 2.
Yeah, sorry, didn't mean to talk over you. Yeah, so it looks like Will's trying out his pop grind. Not sure if he's having as much success with it as Life Rebuke did with his couple.
I don't know, he's finding frost wolves. I'd rather see those than the giants.
I'd rather see the frost wolves than those Fire 2 Ankylos that Edgeworth just found guarding the canoe in the vanilla marsh spot.
Well, there you go. The world's opened up to us. We got a few more dungeons open.
Yep, and I would say our runners would want to prioritize Crescent Lake, but again, we just talked about it. All they're going to do is maybe get some kind of useful piece of magical gear from the old guys living in the circle in the park.
That could be very good for some of our runners that only brought one offensive mage.
Yeah, that's kind of the dream when you're running these seeds, is finding something like, you know, an Ice 3 stick or a nuke gauntlet. Especially any of the magic items that roll multiple, like a light axe rolling something amazing on item magic is great, especially if you manage to find both of the items early.
Yeah, give that black belt something to do until you get it up to punching speed.
Alright, so we know Canoe's down in the bottom half of Marsh. We have both Edgeworth and Caleb checking out the top floor of Marsh. loose rod up top for Caleb. Edgeworth should find that in just a minute.
Yeah, they'll need that eventually, but it still looks like they're taking that canoe elsewhere.
Yep, looks like we'll be heading east here in just a moment. I'm sure Caleb will dive back in and check the bottom half of marsh. Edgeworth, as soon as he finds that rod, should realize I've got to go east and decide whether he's going to hit up Volcano or Ice Cave and see which play he wants to make.
Yeah, without the incentives being involved, I'm saying probably Volcano.
I am 100% inclined to agree with you, especially because we don't have warp, so we can't really easily cheese the chest in Ice Cave. Plus, like you mentioned, they're not incentivized, so we may never have to step foot in Ice.
Yeah, and Volcano just has more all in all, more spike tiles, more chests, and we're gonna have to go there eventually anyway, so why not do it now?
Absolutely. I would definitely agree with making Volcano the next stop after we check in with Crescent Lake and see what's going on. Oh, speaking of warp, level 3 black magic has warp.
And lit too, so at least they have something to help preserve some of those nuke charges for later.
Invis 2 in the white 3 shop, probably the best choice there.
Shield 3 at level 4 white, that'll be a nice time saver. Everyone should have access to it with that white mage in their party.
Ooh, and a nice selection in Black Magic Shop 4, Temper, Fast, Cake, and Lit 3. So of those 4 spells, what are your top 3 in that particular slot? Are you going with the guaranteed damage in Lit 3, or are you going with Cake strats and hoping for the best since you've already found Nuke and Lit 2?
I'd be taking the lit 3. I'm not the biggest fan of Cake. It's just, I don't like casting a spell and having it do nothing sometimes.
Yeah, I'd agree with you in that part. I think Temper, Fast, Lit 3 would probably be my 3 choices as well there. Temper and Fast for obvious reasons. Already thinking endgame, already thinking killing the fiends the first time through. Want to get as much oomph as you can behind either your thief or your black belt, depending on who you're going to have swinging. But I think just Lit 3 has more utility throughout the game. Like, yeah, everyone likes the meme kills with Cake on like Lich and Lich 2 and Undead, but I think Lit 3 overall is going to do more, especially knowing we've got, a Sea Shrine dive coming up eventually. Eventually maybe having to travel on the sea and hopefully avoiding encounters, but if you hit some encounters on the river or on the sea, I think Lit 3 will do a lot more work for you than Cake will.
Right, because we don't know what's going to be unrunnable with everything shuffled there as far as unrunnables go.
So Caleb getting the good news about Warp and Black Magic's 3 shop. Life Reboot's heading into Marsh Cave, getting up top north till he'll find his rock. Will Bloodworth finally made it over from the Peninsula Power. He's going to start his Marsh dive as well, and he's also going top first.
We'll be seeing what the old men have for us today very soon. Hopefully it's a nice spell. There is, however, one dud also out there today because we had more locations than items.
So when the old men give you their pocket change, you know that everything else is going to give you a magic item. Or if they give you, their magic item, which Fox Shirt, probably not going to see a lot of use, I wouldn't imagine.
I don't imagine so. I would probably sell it.
Yeah, I feel like the only value in keeping that is just using it as, well, we don't know whether it's the white shirt or the black shirt replaced quite yet, but just keeping it around for like endgame armor for either your white mage or your black mage if you brought one. I think that's really the only value there, and it's kind of marginal over a gold bracelet and a ribbon and a pro ring anyways, so I'd probably definitely be taking that to the vendor and saying, hey, how much are you going to give me for this? just like you would.
If it is the black shirt, that's, I guess, a little handy for equipping. I mean, if you don't have enough ribbons to cover everyone, that at least gives them that, I believe it's time protection that's on that one.
Yeah, I believe it is time protection on the black shirt. That does sound right.
So that'll give you a little bit of protection against the fiends zapping you.
Yeah, and we've all had our runs, I feel, where, you know, Zap comes out at those inopportune times and gets your Black Mage, who is supposed to be your savior with the fast and the tempers, but... Alright, so Edgeworth and Volcano, Caleb on the river system, Will Bloodworth and Life Reboot, both furthering their dives into Marsh, trying to find out what is where. Looks like Life got a really nice initiative on those Ankylos on that Marsh Trap tile. We know they have fire too, and we know they generally hit like the little trucks they are. So the less rounds of combat you have with them, the better off you're going to be.
I did not catch that on our first trip to Crescent. We got Fade at level 6 for White.
Ooh, that will be a really nice pickup for our runners, because everyone has that forced White Mage today. Question is just going to be when they end up with enough level 6 charges to make it worth their while.
Yeah, that and being level 6, it's a little further down the list than you usually want to have to scroll. That's one of the nice things about Nuke being at level 1.
Yeah, for some of our runners, I think that might be a good pickup for them. Once they either get a grind going, once they get some levels a little bit later in the run. I think for Caleb, I don't think he'll ever think twice about ignoring Fade. He's got his 2 Nuke casters. I think he's pretty much set with what he's got. Let's see, so... Edgeworth, heading around in Volcano, checking the armory floor. Hasn't seen anything significant yet, I don't believe. Caleb also choosing Volcano over Ice for his first dungeon. He's going to be kind of just jumping behind Edgeworth here for a little while. Kind of going stride and stride with him.
Yeah, all our runners pretty much picking the same path today. I mean, it's a good path. I don't blame them at all.
Yeah, I agree. I think the only thing to note at this moment, though, Edgeworth, it looks like, aside from finding a Masa in that back hallway chest, I think he's going to be running a 3-man strat, so that'll help get his black belt up to snuff a little bit quicker than I think our other runners today.
Yeah, you can always bring that thief up later, and it can still do its job of running away, even if it's level 5 or whatever it is.
Biz 2X, that'll be... probably take a lot of worries off some of our runners' minds. Like, yeah, we have the guaranteed White Mage, but I don't... Have we seen Invis 2 quite yet? I think we have. But that Invis 2X will definitely go along well for boss killing and Temple of Fiends diving later on in the...
Thanks to our wonderful tracker, we did see Invis 2. It was at level 3.
Awesome. So yeah, that should... everyone at least has one shot at it. I can't recall what slot it was in. I'm assuming it was white magic only, though, perhaps. And it looked like in the black magic shop, Ice 3 was really the only thing to speak of there in Crescent Lake, so not a whole lot of powerful spell selection, but we've kind of already seen all the black magic we want. We've seen Nuke, we've seen Fast, we've seen Temper, we've seen Lit 3. We've also seen Warp. It looks like Edgeworth has made 2 ribbons in Volcano so far, so that's a fantastic find for him.
Yeah, that's already 2 ribbons down. That's 2 more than you need, but that's a really solid amount.
And Thunderclawed in chat pointing out that that Black Belt Black Mage combo could be really nasty and might be the play that he would consider making if he was in this particular race. 2 ribbons, Masa, level 1 nuke. I think everything's just going to fall over at that point.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. Going at it 2-man with this experience, you won't even need to grind probably. You'll probably hit your 40. There's also a required war mech out there, which would be a solid chunk of experience if you aren't already there.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, it looks like in addition to the 2 ribbons down there in Volcano Armory, Caleb and I'm sure Edgeworth also both finding the bottle in the armory as well. So I'd say definitely at this point, Volcano was the play to make. Granted, we haven't seen what Ice Cave holds, but I'm thinking it's not going to really compare to Amasa and 2 ribbons at this point.
No, it's hard to beat a Masa and 2 ribbons, other than a progression item.
That is true, and having the bottle in hand here, and now the cube, okay. So we're starting to pick up items, it's nice. But it's not the ship, it's not the floater. So we're still looking.
Yeah, the bottle's nice, but it's just going to be another spellcaster item.
Yeah, what our runners really want at this point is going to be that second mode of transportation. I'm sure they're all leaning towards the floater before the ship. We're not, because I'd like to see them sail around a little bit. But aside from the transportation, I think they're also looking for any of the items that need to open up dungeon progression for them. So we've already found the rod. We found the cube, so we're still looking for Oxyale and Chime. And then I believe we also still need our endgame Topher items, which is going to be the loot and the key in order to progress through the dungeon.
If they do end up finding the ship, they also still are going to have to find that canal.
That is also a very valid point. And we haven't seen either one quite yet. Edgeworth only has 2 boxes left to check here, the Volcano as well. So we might be getting a required ice cave out of this in just a few moments. Ooh, Pete's giving Life Reboot the business with Ice 2. That is not something you want to see on Pete's because they are, or they can be, rather numerous in Volcano and all the surrounding areas. Once he gets to those ribbons in the armory, he should do a little bit better against them, though.
Yeah, once you have 2 ribbons, looks like he's also running 3-man currently, although I think that's just temporary.
Not sure. I think his black belt's been down for a good while now. But he also finds his boss, which will be a nice improvement on the saber for his thief.
So unless this is key or floater, we're going to be looking at ice.
Life Reboot just got his 2 ribbons in his bottle. Being a little daring. I think if I picked up 2 ribbons sequentially, I'd probably be jumping right into my menu to equip them before I check another box. Especially knowing what I've already seen in Volcano at this point with the Ice 2 on the Pede. Ooh, in Volcano we have the herb in the red D chest.
So another caster item. That's alright, we'll take it.
You know, they say friends don't let friends die of Ice Cave, but at this point, our friends don't have another choice at this moment.
Yeah, I'm liking this. We had a required marsh, a required ice cave. We're just gonna make everyone go everywhere.
Edgeworth prepping this party for his carry 1 fight in the top right hand of the screen.
At this point, the seed is making you do your last check be the one you have to do. So once people are in the air, what is going to be the last check? Where do we want to hide that key item that everyone's going to have to find? You think ordeals?
I'm thinking ordeals. You know, I think we're always hoping for having something in like the TFC chest, just because it's infamous for having that every now and then. Personally, I'm hoping for it to be some out of the way chests that runners tend to overlook. Maybe like the right hand chests on Earth 2, or I'm sorry, Earth 3. Maybe some of the more distant chests down on the same floor as the TFC chest.
Yeah, those are all very valid. I don't know that a lot of our runners will be orphaning things before they're in go mode, though.
No, absolutely not. That's a thought that'll haunt you the entire time if you do. Especially when you start going long stretches without finding any key items. So, Edge is still being rather defensive with this carry. I saw she had slow and dark and hold, so it looks like she's just doing a lot of annoying stuff to him at the moment. Nothing really attack significant that I've noticed so far.
Yeah, he's stacking up that invis too, but he's not using confuse.
Doesn't need to. Nuke takes out carry. So Edgeworth has his first orbit at
that.
Yeah, could have. We'll see if any of our other runners open with confuse. I think Edgeworth may have sold his confuse shirt. I didn't get a good look at his menus though. Ooh, those 3 Invis 2 casts paying dividends for Caleb right now. This carry isn't able to kill off that red mage in one shot.
Yeah, indeed, just barely kept it alive. Probably one more hit would have done.
Speaking of the confused shirt, Caleb gives it a shot but is ineffective against carry.
They're all showing our bosses a lot of respect today with these 300% clamps.
Yeah, I think you kind of have to pay them a little bit of respect. Just, you never know how far into that range they're going to roll. And you don't want it to be some... if you've got a spell or skill heavy boss and you start skimping on the invasion stat or the invase 2 cast, I don't think you want to run the risk of, getting shot up with your last characters or even your big damage dealer. So it pays to respect the bosses every now and then.
It's good to see. We see a lot of disrespect towards the bosses, especially some of them like Lich.
Well, Lich deserves it, let's be honest. But wow, that was a really fast fight for Life Reboot. I think he just went offensive strats, and it paid out in spades for him, because he's right behind Caleb, like literally seconds behind at this moment, when Caleb was in Volcano well ahead of him.
Edgeworth decides to take that herb back and see what caster item it's going to yield, and it was our dud. Nothing but a pure potion.
Oh, that's unfortunate. This is going to be a mad sprint through Ice Cave at this rate.
Yeah, thankfully he didn't save outside Elf, so he was able to reset back to the river system.
That's a very smart play by Edgeworth, too, and that's not a thing a lot of people think of doing, especially in these seeds where you have that potential dud. Or even our seed tonight where all of the gear that you're going to be given from the turn-ins is going to be magic-oriented. So that saves them a good bit of time having to paddle back over to the Crescent Lake area from Elfland.
Not enough time to keep the lead, however, because Caleb is the first to make it to Ice Cave.
Will continuing his dive here in Volcano. We'll have another carry fight here in just a minute or so. Looks like a lot of these undead in Ice Cave rolled pretty beefy too. That nuke not killing over half of the pack on Caleb.
Yeah, I think we'll see him running from future packs.
Speed Gaming 5 with the raid. Welcome to FF Randomizer for our Tuesday night week.
There's our key. That's a heck of a pickup. That opens up a lot of chests to our runners.
I don't know how I feel about the key being in that location, though. Like, I think to me that's just kind of one of those, I gotta keep searching moments. Like, because we're all looking for the ship or the floater, because we want to be able to get around the world. And instead it's, oh, here's the key. You know, there's another 4 or 5 places you can go check, right? Well, speaking of transportation items.
There's a ship. Will we see the canal? Will they have to sail the 7 seas to find that floater? Gouda pointing out the Elf Prince is not a main NPC. It's a fetch quest NPC. Got it. Thank you, Gouda.
It's like Life Reboot will be the second of our on-screen runners to pick up the key. Edgeworth is to be doing a little cheeky spike tile check, it looks like. And arachnids is not what you want to find.
Neither are these bones and crawls. Oh, that's unfortunate for Will, taking a wipe to those white dragons.
Yeah, I believe that was a spike tile right before the red D chest, so we know it's the herb. We know it leads to a pure potion. He doesn't know that, though. So I'd be interested to see if he decides to skip that chest on his dive back down, or if he's going to go back and give the white D's another shot. Caleb finding the canal while Edgeworth picks up his ship. So now we can go a sailing. So we got even more places to check, and starting to wonder if we might be seeing a floaterless seed here tonight. Ooh, and now a chime. Ice Cave paying almost as many dividends. Oh, absolutely, sky.
I mean, I guess there's not a lot of other options besides Sky.
Yeah, so what do you do in this situation now, Cyrenus? We just found the key in Ice Cave. We have the ship in the canal. Are you circling back and checking chest, hoping for a floater, or are you just going to keep going and maybe hit some of the bigger dungeons? Like, we have the rod, we can clear Earth Cave. We have the chime in the cube, we can go up into Sky and, pay our friend Tiamat and our required War Mech a visit. Like, what would be your next step in this situation?
I'd be starting with the easy key lock chests.
I think that's a good call, especially with, if our runners or if our viewers may not know, so when you find the ship loose in a box, where it pops up at depends on where you find it. For our runners tonight, finding the ship in Ice Cave puts them up at Provoca for their ship. So you've already got to kind of sail past Canaria indirectly a little bit past Temple of Fiends, but past Dwarf Cave. So you've got to kind of sail past everything in the middle that has a key locked location with treasure boxes in it. And we're just going to ignore the 3 in the bottom of Marsh Cave. We don't want anything down there.
Yeah, I think we can ignore those 3 for now.
Yeah, but yeah, I agree with your call. I think checking those key lock chests on our way out of the Inner Sea is a really smart call at this point.
And you don't have to worry about, checking Dwarf early even though you don't have the items, since fetch quests aren't incentivized, so we'll never go turn those in.
Yeah. To circle back to it, there's Oxyel, so the only thing our runners are really missing for Go mode is going to be the loot.
Yeah, this might just be floaterless today.
It's a big pickup for Caleb. I'm curious to see if our other runners are going to make the same play that he did with checking the locked boxes.
I mean, if you did armory, you already have 2 ribbons. You're banking on a black belt. If you find the loot now, do you just go mode the rest of the game?
I think so. I think the only thing our runners would be missing at this point would be maybe a grind tile, but you kind of check those as you clear the dungeons anyways. Speaking of clearing dungeons, Will Bloodworth pulling his carry fight. So we noticed before the fight he did get his herb, so he did make it past that white D-pack that gave him some problems on his first dive. And I think he's going to be taking out his frustrations on carry here in just a minute. And don't let your eyes deceive you, that was not a regular ice sword in that Temple of Fiends box. That was an Ice 1 casting sword. So very, very little value, because that should be replacing, I believe, the Bane Sword with our item magic shuffle.
Yeah, another spell we won't be seeing cast a lot.
Carrie putting up a little bit of a fight with Will, just refusing to go down to his nukes. But he's playing this fight very smartly. Invis 2, wall, save, nuke. I think he's going to have it here in either this round or the next one.
I picked up that loose adamant. No real good for you, but it is 10% more experience.
Will makes it through carry. Very well fought. So at this point, all of our runners are going to have their first orb lit by the 40 and some change minute mark, and it's not a big gap between them either. So Edgeworth has checked Canary, he's checked Temple of Fiends lock chest. We're now was making his way to Dwarf Cave before deciding he wants to go there by boat, it looks like. Caleb checking ordeals. I would imagine he's going to be checking the spike tiles while he's in here checking these boxes.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's not a terrible spike tile if you're looking to grind as a group.
Yeah, it can get you up there a little ways. I wouldn't want to take it too far, but it's better than a lot of.
Yeah, I might consider taking that pack just to say maybe level 21. Just to give your black belt some punching power, more nuke charges, but I don't think you want to spend a whole lot of time doing a 4-man grind on that particular pack.
Yeah, he's already in the high teens. I'd probably be looking at moving on.
It's like Will's going back and checking Matoya and her crystal. Oh. Maybe he thought he had the crystal. So Edgeworth finding the same tile, because he and Caleb have been pretty much hand in hand for a good portion of this run so far. Yeah, that first fight looks a lot better than this Argoyle fight does, that's for sure.
Argoyles are terrible. I never want to see Argoyles.
Yeah, in a lot of runs that we've seen, they always tend to have something in their pocket that surprises the runners. So they're one of those things that you just don't want to see, kind of like, you know, the giant arachnid packs in Earth that keep rolling really nasty skills.
Still haven't seen the mummies today. That's always a favorite.
It's not a lot to write home about here in Melman. We've had a Bruise, Heal 2, and I believe it was Fire 3 and Bane were really the big draws there. But I think they're all kind of situational. I don't think they'd be really any of them are must-buys at this point in the run.
No, not when it's all the way down at level 5.
Life Reboot finding his Oxyale in the Canaria lock chest. I think Will is backtracking. I think he's desperately hoping he just overlooks something and it's something simple so he doesn't have to dive into Ice Cave.
Now there's a spike tile for us.
Ooh, absolutely.
Edgeworth digs up some worms down in the Earth Cave.
Thunder X for worms. Maybe that's not as great of a spike tile as we were led to believe. I mean, depending on what they rolled, might be really daring to do like a one-man grind on that for his black belt, since he at least has a ribbon. So that would kind of mitigate a lot of the thunder damage, but if they're skill and spell happy, you never know what their next spell is going to be. And if you've got 3 of them, they're not dying in one round.
Yeah, unless they got low HP and can die in like one nuke, I would probably be leaving them alone.
Caleb was really making the most out of this Whizvamp Vamp tile that he found in Northwest Castle. Looks like 24 is a stopping point for him for the time being. Yeah, Gouda making a good point. So if those worms X for you before that thunder hits, you're taking a full shot to the face of that thunder, and that will put a very short work to a thunder worm grind, as it were.
Yeah, that was my problem with the solo grind of it. I wouldn't want to go 4 rounds with them.
Caleb doing that Warcraft fetch quest. Hey, I found your adamant. Can I have that $6,000 now? And probably talking to the Hooray Dwarf to show us how elated he was to get that money. Edgeworth continuing his dive into Earth 2 at the moment. Keeps getting unpacked, so this part of the encounter table isn't being very friendly to him at the moment. Will making his way up to Ice Cave. He's figured out that's his next destination, so he's making that. Caleb checking out Melmond, finding out the news about his magic, and Life Reboot checking in and seeing what's going on in Northwest Castle. And I'll be curious to see if he stops and does a grind on this Whiz-Vamp / Vampire pack that Caleb was just making good use of. Nope, doesn't look like it. Exit.
Check it.
You saw that
some
crystal and
exits out.
yeah, absolutely. Got that crystal, making its way right back to Matoya.
Yeah, these are strange plays. I wonder if they didn't look and see that none of that was incentivized.
That's one possibility. I mean, it may just be an edge case of... I'm not sure if it's possible, but it could be one of those things where maybe Matoya's hiding the loot. This might put Life Reboot ahead in his go mode, essentially, once he turns it in. But I'm not sure if the flags work in that particular manner.
Just a house today. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's possible or not either. And I don't know that I would have sailed for the check. Like, if I was flying over it, I could see landing and doing it just to see.
Yeah, I think that's a valid point. Looks like Edgeworth and Caleb both running from some mummies. We did see some Blizzard Wizards on Edgeworth's screen, so that makes that 2-ribbon pickup in Volcano even nicer.
Blizzard Wizards and Thunder Worms.
Makes you wonder what other horrors are living here in the Earth Cave.
Indeed. Where's our Blaze today?
Speaking of Thunder Worms, Caleb being daring, trying a 4-pack, doesn't know what they have quite yet. Speed Gaming 6, thank you for the raid. Welcome to Final Fantasy 1 Randomizer.
Yeah, Caleb's getting the bad news now. Looks like at least 3 nukes and a punch was not enough to kill anything yet.
Yeah, those are some extremely beefy worms tonight. Oh yeah, definitely never taking a worm fight.
No, those worms are extremely thick tonight. There's a lot of HP there, because there were at least 4 nukes.
Yeah, 4 nukes. I think that top left one ate 2 punches as well, so upwards of 1,000 HP potentially on those worms. Which is something you just want to keep in the back of your mind for when you're diving Topher later. Hopefully you don't run into an ambushing pack of those guys. Take a glance at Edgeworth's screen, you'll see our lovely speed bump in act. Got Will continuing to dive through his ice cave. He's picked up his key, he's picked up his ship. We know he still has both the canal and the chime to find in here. Our other 3 on-screen runners, all in various parts of the Earth Cave. Just checking out what they've got, checking boxes.
Just pulling up Vanilla Worm HP is around 450. So those could be up around 1,300 potentially.
Yeah, they're definitely off the table for a grind candidate at this point. Ooh, looks like Mages with Stone Touch giving Will a little bit of a trouble getting out of this fight in our ice. Who gets away with the 1 black belt? Let's hope he has some softs. Oh, he does. He's golden play right there.
Exactly a handful of softs. That's not going to leave him with a lot left if he sees more of that.
Life trekking back, turning in that TNT. The dwarf turns it into a 10. Guess that's a fair trade. Ooh, a lit 3 helmet for Edgeworth. That's a nice pickup. And the tail in the same room.
I don't know that we're going to be rushing to use that tail today, but yeah, no, it's absolutely more experience.
Yeah, if anything, that's where their value for that tail is going to be, is from that XP bonus from picking it up off the ground. I think I'd be hard-pressed to see any of our runners at this point trying to prioritize class changing, or even planning it later.
Yeah, we've seen all the major things. We have fast, temper, nuke, warp, exit. Did we see exit? Not that we need it at this point anyways, but...
Yeah, I believe exit was level 2. I think the only thing we haven't seen at this point that would make our runners happy would be life 2. But you've got level 2 life. You've got level 1 cure 4. You may not need to rely on it. Will Bloodworth finding his chime. He knows that's all there is to speak of, and he jumps back down. He wants to go and check this arachnid pack.
Oh boy, a bunch of spiders. Oh, poor Lich. He's not getting nearly the respect that Carrie did.
Nope, doesn't deserve it. Edgeworth making short work of that poor Lich with 1 Masa swing and 1 nuke, and Lich says, okay, I'll play.
Lich will be back.
Alright, so we got Will having successfully escaped from the ice cave. Gonna go get his ship, and I'd assume he's gonna start doing the same play our other 3 runners on screen made. He's gonna go and check a lot of those key locked boxes.
Edgeworth at that part of the game that I always find maddening, where you're in go mode except for the loot, and the loot could be like basically anywhere.
Oh, especially tonight with our flags. Because we know it's not coming from an NPC, so we know it's got to be in a box. The question is, which box?
Right, you're still stuck checking every box there is, just looking for one singular item.
So, thinking of chest density, because I think that's might be what Edge has on his mind, I wouldn't be surprised if he makes a Sky play at this moment.
Sky or Sea, either one would be a good choice, I think.
Yeah, the only thing going against Sky at the moment is that required War Mech we talked about earlier. I'm not sure with our scaling if he's at the levels where he'd be comfortable taking on a War Mech, but we'll see in just a few moments once he gets some traction and makes some decisions. Will picks up his Oxyale in just a second here from Lock Canaria. So that puts him in pretty much the same spot as all our other runners, either looking for the floater just to fly around or looking for the loot to truly be in go mode at this point.
Yeah, at this point, either one of those dungeons, if I find the floater, I don't know that I'm bothering with.
Yeah, I think it depends on what dungeon you find it in. I think if you find it in the Sky, I think it's a quick enough turn in, and I think it'll save you some sailing time between going to Honoract and back to Canaria. But if you don't find it until after you've lit your 4th orb, I'd say there's zero value in getting that float.
But he's making the cheeky play to go to Ordeals. I expect that would have been the last place they checked.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only value here in Ordeals is going to be you've got, I believe it's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 boxes, but you've got technically 3 spike tiles to check. But even if you find a good tile here, I'd be a little curious about if it's something you're going to want to grind, because 2 of them are locked behind the Pillar Maze. One's potentially mid-Pillar Maze, so I don't even know if it's something you'd want to route in at this point, but I'm curious to see if it pays off for Edge.
Yeah, Thunder pointing out that it's a play he'd make if he felt behind, and I agree with that. I make silly plays like that when I'm behind, because if it does turn out to be the item you need, you're suddenly going to feel probably ahead.
Yeah, and those mental mind games we play with ourselves during these races kind of factor into it a lot as well. I know there's a number of runners who feel, if they're thinking they're behind the entire time, they're actually kind of pushing themselves, and I think it helps make smarter plays during your run, potentially, depending on the runner. I think if Edge finds something great here in Ordeals, I think that'll really give him a bigger push than he anticipates. Speaking of pushes, Caleb nuking down Lich, lighting his 2nd orb, just shy of the 59-minute mark. And Fade actually saving Edgeworth in Ordeals against those stoning catmen.
Yeah, those catmen are highly unpleasant if you don't have Nuke or Fade or something else non-elemental around.
Yeah, in addition to being resistant, they always tend to have something nasty up their sleeves too. So we've got Caleb turning in some fetch quest, TNT for his tent. I wonder if he's turned in the crystal yet. I don't recall if he has. I think he did actually. Ooh, is Caleb gonna make the cheeky locked marsh play?
That's not a lot of chests. That's not something people are going to check. So if it's there, he's going to feel real good.
Yeah, that could potentially pay off for him. Edgeworth finding the ruby, though, in Ordeals, that puts Titans in the table for him. So if the loot's in the Titans boxes, this Ordeals play is starting to look amazing for him at the moment.
That's an interesting find. If I made the Ordeals check because I felt behind, I might be inclined to actually go straight to that ruby to see if it paid off.
Life reboot coming up on the Lich floor. We'll see another Lich fight here in just a minute. Won't last long if our last 2 fights are anything to go by. Will making use of that Whiz Vamp and Vampire pack for some efficient leveling in the top left hand of your screen. Something we saw another one of our runners do a little bit earlier. Life reboot, pulling the Lich. Let's see what he does here. We saw a fight. I think that was a harm 3. So, also paying Lich no respect whatsoever, as is tradition.
Yeah, he thought about it for a minute.
So Life Reboot lights his Earth Orb, 1 hour and 2 minute mark. Ooh, Caleb finds a blue D tile buried all the way in the Marsh locked room. They don't seem to have a lot of HP. Even though it's at the bottom of Marsh, if you're searching at the end of the day for a solo grind, that could be...
Yeah, they don't seem too bad. Looks like probably 300-ish HP.
Oh yeah, and they're... So far we haven't seen them do anything, so they might have spells, they might not. If anything, they're absolutely 100% better than those Thunder Worms that were hiding in Earth.
At least 100%.
Looks like Edge was doing a little bit of fetch quest turn in, little lockbox checking. Now we're going to see what this Ruby's going to turn into. Looks like that's his next destination. Life Reboot looks like he's heading to Ordeals as well. Ordeals becoming popular tonight.
I'm a fan of Ordeals when it's incentivized, but tonight, hey, it still might be the right play.
Yeah, it might be. I mean, we'll see what happens. Looks like we're gonna get a little save and a little quick check here on Sarda. Oh, it's not incentivized. The only thing incentivized tonight is our main NPCs. Opal Bracelet, not a bad pickup. Definitely an upgrade to the silver that he was wearing. So Will's still going to town on that vampire tile that's in Northwest Castle. Caleb's still picking on these poor little cremate blue dragons. What's in the Titans boxes today? Money, 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 and a soft potion. So aside from that opal bracelet, there wasn't a lot of value in that ruby tonight.
And we're headed back to Seer Sky. Or Waterfall, I guess, if you're feeling cheeky.
So Sarda tonight had the opal bracelet. And yeah, at this point, I'm still not sure how I'm feeling. I think we've got an early level that I believe a lot of our runners have picked up since it was level 2. I'm thinking I might try my luck in Waterfall and Sea Shrine before I jump into Sky, just again knowing we have that required war mech waiting up there.
Yeah, Kraken can be dangerous, but we do have Invis to at least 2 casters, sometimes as much as 4 on some of our parties.
Caleb really committing to this blue D grind at the moment. I've seen levels between 29 and 31 on his party at the moment.
Yeah, I kind of wonder how long he's going to go at it with the full party, and when he's going to start thinking about killing them off and let his black belt just take it off.
Yeah, I saw he unequipped some of the gear a little bit earlier, but it doesn't look like the dragons were really inclined to kill anybody off, so looks like 32 was his magic number. And I can't say I blame him with that number. Again, required war mechs can give you a lot of levels. He still has 2 dungeons to dive through, at least fiend dungeons to dive through. So I think he'll still get a good number of levels on that black belt before endgame, or before chaos, I should.
32 is a good start. That should probably get him through Warmech. I would want the 42 before going into Topher, though.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Just, again, we've got 300% scaling on our bosses tonight, and with them being clamped, you know they're at least going to be as nasty as vanilla. I think 42 black belt, I think, is a really safe call on these flags. Life Reboot, having got his ruby, going to find the bad news that Sarda's just hiding a bracelet in his house.
It may turn out to be completely overkill, but sometimes you're better safe than sorry.
I mean, all it takes is for you to have a super high evade, super high absorb boss, and once you've committed to black belt, I think you've got your breakpoint. So you've got 21, 32, and 42. Anything in between those numbers is either kind of wasted potential or just a wasted time, depending on how things end up falling in the end of end of the run, I should say. So, yeah, I think once you hit 32, I think your next goal is really going to be 42. And I think Caleb's got that in mind with, you know, enemies in the sky have a lot of EXP. Sea Shrine can have some pretty beefy EXP packs in it. Warmech's going to give him a bunch of levels on his guys as well. So we've got Caleb and Edgeworth both making the waterfall play. So they're back to being kind of step-by-step again, since Caleb so far has omitted the Ordeals play that Edgeworth made a little bit early.
Looking for another good caster item. Hopefully, who knows? Maybe it'll be our other shirt. Or wait, the Confused was a shirt, wasn't it? So we've seen both of those, I think.
Yep, we have the Confused shirt and the Fog shirt, so both of our shirts are checked off. Shout out to Out of Bounds Bat.
Then I think the only one that's left is the Power Bonk.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen a item magic gauntlet yet in the scene, so I think you're right on that.
And there it was, not what we wanted to find. We don't want a rub gauntlet.
And that crown not really being a huge pickup either. 10 more XP, great, or 10% more XP, great, but it's not most likely going to lead to that elusive loot that I think is just kind of holding our runners up from go mode at this moment. Ooh, Life Reboot opting for the daring play. He's making the skydive. So Will's continuing his circuit. He's going to go down and follow in Caleb's steps. He's going to check the marsh locked box. Alright, so you're diving Sea Shrine, Cyranus. Are you going Mermaid side first, or are you going Kraken side first?
I'm a mermaid side person. Once you get down to that floor, they're free checks.
Yeah, I think that'd be a smart play in tonight's seed, just because I believe the right side with mermaids is a little bit more chest dense than the left hand. And I feel like as soon as either of our runners, well, really any of our runners, because they're all essentially in the same spot key item wise, as soon as any of them find the loot, that should constitute go mode, and they should most likely stop opening boxes, just start making mad dashes for any remaining fiends.
left side just doesn't seem to have as many chests, and a lot of them are behind those spike tiles.
Yep. So far, it doesn't look like Life Reboot's found anything worthwhile in Mirage. He did find a slow stick in the greater than, less than. Will about to find his blue D tile. Wonder if we'll take a grind here. Caleb checking Kraken's side. Finds another Invis 2X. Edgeworth checking Mermaid's side. I don't think TFC had anything worthwhile tonight, so there goes our dreams of the loot being in the TFC box.
Yeah, no, I believe it was just money, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, Ragnarok confirming for us that that is indeed the case. Just a little bit of cash in the TFC box.
Between 3 of our runners being in 3 different places, we are quickly running out of chests.
Yeah, because it doesn't look like it's on Kraken's side. Ooh, Life Reboot finding the floater. Looks like that was on the left side of Sky 1. Wisely continues checking boxes even with that floater, because he knows the loot is going to be in a box somewhere.
Possibly a floater lockbox. It could be up there in the Cardia Island somewhere.
Ooh, that is a very good point. I didn't even consider that. So far, nothing to speak of in Mermaid's side. Caleb, giving Kraken the business. Brack not working. Ooh, really high defense Kraken tonight. That 32 black belt's only punching for 74 damage.
Yeah, and that white mage only cutting in for 90 with that Masa.
Will getting ready to dive into Earth Cave. Go check out some spike tiles. Whew, and Caleb gets that Brack on Kraken. Probably breathing a huge sigh of relief right now, because it doesn't look like he's going to get to him by punching.
Will checking out those worms that we already know are just terrible.
Nightmare Evil Men packs unrunnable. Shouldn't pose a problem, but might be a nuisance later on in Temple of Fiends Revisited.
Looks like he's actually going to kill a pack of those worms. I still don't know that it's worth it to fight them.
Yeah, for only 8,000 EXP, that's a lot of investment for not a lot of payoff. Alright, so Caleb was doing his mermaid check while Edgeworth is now going through his Kraken side, so they're literally still kind of just in lockstep within this dungeon, just on opposite sides at the moment.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Will's doing the thief strat thing today. He's at least keeping that black belt up to date so far.
Life Reboot finding a lot of fights on this Sky 2 floor. I think he must be in a pretty unforgiving part of the encounter table at the moment. He looks like he's getting a fight like every 5 or 6 steps, it feels like.
Yeah, that Sky 2 floor is an annoying one to check. And unfortunately, it's one that Warp doesn't exactly help a lot on, unlike these other floors.
Yeah, I think one of the only viable strats I'd seen for checking Sky 2 is skipping it and checking Sky 3 first. Just because there's more chests there and they're all tightly packed together. And if you don't find what you're looking for on Sky 3, going back and then working up and down each side of the... Only a couple more boxes to check. Up here in the sky to see if we have anything here. Otherwise, we know loot's going to be locked behind that airship. Oh, speaking of the loot. Life Reboot. Go mode. Exits, outs, and saves. I can't say I find fault in that strategy.
Yeah, that's valid. Warmech is still a very risky proposition.
Yeah, last thing you want to do is... I know he picked up some armor on Sky 3, and he sorted out his inventory a little bit, because it looks like he's prepping to probably do his class change, once he gets airborne, since he's running ninja strat. So he was prepping getting like ice armor, things like that situated. So I wouldn't want to lose that in addition to the loot to an unlucky Warmech fight. I agree. I mean, he's got his... He knows he's in go mode. So I see from him, Life Reboot's path to the victory at this moment is he's going to run to Warmech, punch him in the face, run to Tiamat, punch her in the face. I can see him getting airborne and then going to do Kraken. I think that'd probably be the plan or the route I would take if I was in his shoes at the moment.
Minus the punching, because his black belt's been dead for a little while.
True. Okay, stabbing with a Masa. I guess we should correct that then. So Caleb, having cleared C, knows his path forward is either going to be in Ordeals or in the Sky. We know it's in the Sky, but he doesn't quite know that just yet. Edgeworth is coming up on Kraken, so he knows Sky is going to be his play forward at this moment.
Yeah, Life Reboot's just going to have that extra little advantage of being able to go mode C.
Alright, so Kraken won for Edgeworth. We know from watching Caleb that she was very punch happy tonight. So we'll see what kind of strats Edgeworth employs here to take her out.
Chat bringing out their blessed RNGs, hoping for our favorite robot chicken. You don't need to pray for it today, though, folks. It's guaranteed to happen. He's required.
Yes, the robot chicken is 100% on tonight's menu. Edgeworth swaps his strats over, starts doing a lot of defensive buffing. I think he's noticed Kraken's just punching. And Life Reboot pulling his Warmex. Let's see what Warmex got for us tonight. Starts with damage poison. I think I'd be okay with that with his ribbon situation.
Black Mage goes down. That was a nasty punch.
Ooh, and there goes the Black Belt. Ooh, Warmech is not playing... I'm sorry, there goes the Thief, rather. So Warmech not playing nice with Life Reboot tonight.
Yeah, you probably don't want to have to solo this with a White Mage. It might get the job done, but it's not going to be easy.
Yeah, it's going to take a little bit of time with if you're just relying on that Lit 3 helm to do your damage, and Warmech says no thank you. I do not want you to kill me. So Edgeworth lights his water orb. Interested to see if he beelines it to Sky at this moment. Yeah.
Good thing he went out and saved.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, knowing he's punching that hard and how punch happy he seems to be, it looking like this might be the time to bust out that Invis 2-axe. I think he had at least one of them on his.
Yeah, I believe his White Mage has an Invis 2-axe at the moment. Might be worthwhile seeing if he swaps that to another caster, or another character rather, and uses that and buffs up. We haven't seen any spells out of Warmech. All we saw was damage poison at the start, and then just a string of punches. Or whatever Warmech does to hit us.
Punches, stomps, missiles, whatever they are.
Will Bloodworth taking out his speed bump, doing some road construction on his side of the screen at the moment. Ooh, it was Badman giving Life Reboot's Thief the business there. Not letting him run until it's too late. Caleb one arm away on the Sky 1 floor from finding his floater.
Yeah, the bad part about that Warmech loss is that the other two runners, Edge and Caleb, are catching up quick, and they have a little bit higher level.
Yeah, I think I saw when Caleb was just menuing, I think his black belt's at level 39, well, just at 40 in this particular. So, Warmech should be comparably easier for Caleb, since I believe Life Reboot's Ninja, or Thief, is only level 26 at the moment.
Ah, yes, the age-old debate of what ways to go on the Sky Mage. I'm pretty sure we all know the correct directions are left up.
You know what? I'm in the same boat. We are both left and up.
Looks like everyone in chat is a right up or upright person, but what you really need to know is that you just never go down.
I think that's a good general consensus. Will taking out Lich in his corner of the screen, giving him no respect whatsoever. Life Reboot working on his revised Warmech strats. Speed Gaming Portuguese, thank you for the raid.
I don't know how I feel about these Brack strats on Warmech.
Yeah, I'd definitely want to keep a few in the chamber for Tiamat, just in case she rolls something nasty as well. Ooh, down goes the Black Mage for life. That's a good hit with that Masa, although Saber Hammer Charge is paying off right now. Oh no, and Warmech with nuclear. This is a fairly beefy Warmech tonight. I think we're about 1600 HP in.
Yeah, this is giving us a good look of why we didn't necessarily want to go Sky, Sky, Sky immediately.
There we go. Nice chunk of EXP though for Life Reboot. And I think this Warp Out and Save and Revive, I think it's another safe play.
It's certainly a safe play. I don't blame him one bit. I mean, I would certainly consider it strongly.
Yeah, after how his first two Warmech fights went, I don't think I want another drag out for a third time. And then not knowing what Tiamat's got right behind him, I don't fault him for that play whatsoever. Edgeworth's going to show us what he's going to do to this poor little robot.
Chat pointing out that Edge's black belt is only level 30, so not quite at that big break point.
Caleb finding his loot, so he is in go mode.
Yes, indeed, Evil Brian. We are fighting Evil Ed 209, who is guarding the fourth and final fiend for some of our run.
I think this early grind for Caleb that he made is really going to pay off in this Warmech fight. I don't think his 44 now black belt's going to have any problems with him whatsoever.
Yeah, there's, you're running the black belt, you know you're going to need to do it, get it out of the way so that you can just burn through everything.
Absolutely. So it looks like Will's making the ordeal check. Fades and Lit's going into that Warmech, not going to do a lot, but at least it's supplemental damage to that black belt. get our first look at Tiamat 1 down on Life Reboot side. So double Warmech on this screen at the moment. This is exciting.
Will be interesting to see if Caleb's dies first with that black belt going to town on. That black belt who can apparently take a punch now also, because the black belt didn't go down when he retaliated.
Ooh, Edgeworth getting down his robot. Disassembled. Tiamat 1 with Blizzard. I don't think he's going to live much longer based on how much that Masa thief just hit him for. Bane does. So Life Reboot gets his Air War Blid for 133 mark.
Yeah, Tia 1's looking mildly tanky today, but just a bunch of low-level elemental spells, so nothing too threatening.
Bracken, poor Tiamat, falls to pieces on the floor in front of Caleb. Caleb in go mode. See what he does. See if he's going to go turn in that floater and check a couple more towns, or if he's going to go right to Temple of Fiends and dive on in. And Edgeworth is going to be right behind him, so it'll be interesting to see what he does. But it looks like I don't think Edge picked up the loot, unless I'm mistaken.
I have to believe he did.
I don't see it in his menu there. I'm curious if he saw that floater and he just stopped checking chest up there.
That would be unfortunate.
Yep, Caleb docking at Matoya's and running his way to Temple of Fiends. So 134th we'll call 41 mark. Caleb entering Temple of Fiends Revisited for his first dive. Life Reboot picks up his airship out of the sand, starts sailing around. I expect him to go see Bahamut for some HR promotioning.
May as well, if you're running those thief strats, get a little extra armor in him.
Phantom's replacement tonight. Ooh, a Tyro. Let's see what Edge does.
Looks like he wants to know what's in the bottle.
Looks like he's also still checking vendor shops. I'm wondering if he thinks that the loot was going to be in the vendor item for him.
Yeah, I'm guessing the first clue that it wasn't going to be there was we had a shop earlier with 2 heal potions in the same shop.
So chat asking, so unfortunately, Edgeworth found the floater on the left side of Sky 1 and immediately beelined towards Warmech and Tiamat. And we unfortunately also know that the loot was on the left-hand side of Sky 3, so Edgeworth might be stuck spinning his wheels for a minute. And speaking of spinning his wheels, Caleb handily taking out Lich 2. So on the top left, we've got Will Bloodworth having checked ordeals and got his ruby. He is now going to go make the Titan/Sarda check. He'll get rewarded with that opal bracelet. And Life Reboot having class change is going to dive in, and I imagine he's going to be running straight to Kraken at this point. I can't see him checking any more chests.
I imagine not. So this should be a quick batch of calamari before he heads over to Topher.
Speaking of quick batches of anything, Fasted Black Belt taking out Carry 2 in one shot on Caleb's screen. Blink and you miss it. So best grind tiles we saw, Crab Cakes, we saw a Wizard Vamp/Vamp pack in Northwest Castle that Caleb and Will both took pretty decently, I think to the 20s to 30s. And then, as we'll see on Edgeworth's screen here in just a second, there's a Blue D tile buried here in Marsh, and the Blue Ds had barely anything to HP-wise.
There was also a worm pack in the Hall of Giants, but today it was not a decent grind. It was not what you were looking for today.
No, Thunder extra worms with huge HP pool. Caleb just continuing to just punch and plow his way through this Temple of Fiends. Blink and you miss it, because I sure did. Took out Kraken 2 with, I'm assuming, 0 problems, because everyone's still upright. And 12 hits for 2008 damage takes out Tia 2 in one shot.
Yeah, this is looking to be a quick finish.
Alright, so we've got Life Reboot pulling his Kraken on his side. Caleb doing some last minute arranging before pulling the big man Chaos. And as expected, just going full offense strats, and it is too fast temper, and we're probably going to have a pretty nasty swing out of this black belt in just a sec. $15 for 23.52. Chaos is, I'm going to say, not long for this world.
No, especially with turn order like that.
Ooh, survives the second round, but we did know they're clamped up to 300, so Caleb not Caleb, but Chaos rolling over 3,300 HP so far.
A big pile of HP is not going to be enough to save him, though.
Not with that 3,700 hit Caleb just threw down. So our first of our on-screen runners, Caleb, finishes with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 40 minutes, and 39 seconds. Off-screen, we did have 3 other runners finish as well. So we had Artea finishing first with 1 hour 28 with 38 seconds. Salty Fry came in second with 1 hour 35 with 25 seconds. And the amazing Burt Reynolds coming in third place, just barely over a minute ahead of Caleb at 1 hour 39 and 20 seconds. And joining us in the booth in just a second is Caleb. Caleb, GG, sir.
Thank you. That was a lot of fun.
How'd you enjoy that black belt power that you were rocking pretty much for half of the seed?
Oh, it was so good. The incidental Bloody grind that I found was so good, because I was just like, maybe loot will be here, because I knew I was a loot away from go mode, and it's like, no one's gonna check here, so let me just pop in here. I was like, oh, second sun sword, not worth saving out of here, but then found those Bloodies with fewer than 300 health, and felt real good.
Yeah, we saw you trying and unequipping your red mages just to maybe get your grind going a little bit quicker, but it didn't look like the Bloodies wanted to cooperate with you.
No, that cremate wasn't getting it done. But This seed was a lot of fun. I like the nothing is incentivized except gear, and item magic rolled really well. But that was fun. When I saw Artea finish, I was like, oh boy, he's good. Because I was still digging out C at that point.
Yeah, I think I didn't get to see Artea's run, but I would imagine maybe there wasn't necessarily a grind going on there, because it didn't look like a 42 black belt was required for really anything in Topher. Like, all the fiends died to you in one round, except for Chaos, and he didn't really seem to have a lot to threaten you with either, so.
Yeah, I think I saw 2, maybe 3 attacks out of Chaos, but yeah, being able to one punch everything, like nothing had super high evade, so like my reroll to get my spells right in the very beginning was for nothing. You know, but there's a lot of silly mistakes. But
Yeah, we were scratching our heads a little bit at that at the start. We were like, maybe he's adjusting his party. Maybe he wants something other than that red mage. And then you went with the same party comp. We're just like, maybe it was an accidental reset, because none of us has ever done that.
no, I accidentally bought wall first slot for one of the red mages, and I wanted that to be nuke. So
Gotcha.
yeah, so I figured it probably cost me a minute, like when I was looking at my timer, and I could have named them but I really wanted the Mayan or eggs to get their vengeance on the seeds.
There you go.
Yay, Edge found his go mode.
Yeah, so it was interesting watching you guys run. So for the longest time, you and Edgeworth were kind of in step by step, hand by hand, running through the whole seed. Like, you guys are almost like mirror moding each other. Life
nice.
Reboot was right there with you as well. I think the biggest thing that separated you guys was Sky. So Edgeworth unfortunately found his floater and then just ran straight to Warmech and Tia. He unfortunately missed that loot there on Sky 3, which he just went back and got.
Yeah.
So that's what kind of secured you the win over Edgeworth tonight.
Well, it's the first time I've ever beat Edge in a race. It's a milestone occasion, boys. Put it on the calendar. I don't think that'll happen very much anymore. He must be getting rusty.
He's just putting on a good show. That's all it is.
Yeah, I was surprised to come in ahead of him, ahead of show. Like, there's some really good runners in this pack, and I got lucky today. But that 42 black belt was pretty freaking sweet.
Yeah, we enjoyed the 3,500 finishing shot that you did to Chaos. That was something to write home about.
Yeah, Chaos never stood a chance. But I was. How about that volcano armory?
Yeah, we were all kind of really cheering when everybody was going there. It's you had the bottle in there, which was kind of subpar to the 2 ribbons next to each other.
And the masa and the hairpin.
I think everyone found all that pretty much right away, and that really saved a lot of the runs. So.
Yeah, I was wondering if anybody would have gone to ice first, but
yeah, we were discussing that before you guys went over that way with the canoe, and I think our consensus was volcano before ice, and for all of our on-stream runners, yourself included, everybody went volcano before ice, which definitely tonight was the best play possible.
Yeah. So did everybody kind of keep 4 up? Oh, it looks like Life Reboot settled on the 3-man party.
Yeah, so Life, for pretty much the entire seed, he's been running the Ninja White Black strat. His black belt's been on the floor for, I'd say, 90% of the seed. Will's been running, surprisingly, a 4-man party just about the entire time. And I believe at one point in time, Edgeworth had his Thief damned for a little bit, but brought him back.
Yeah, the Kraken fight, taking out my 1 red and one white, was perfect. Like, I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna do the 2-man, the Burt special here, black belt red mage, until I hit 42, and then I'll pick everybody back up. And Kraken 1 saved the day for me, because I don't think I would have hit 42 otherwise.
how are you feeling during that fight? So we saw you throwing out Brax, we saw you punching, and nothing was really going your way.
I saw Crabcakes asking chat, ask me why I didn't forfeit, because I got through that crack in one fight. If I had got through that crack in one fight, I probably would have been it. I wasn't gonna tolerate that. Because there was so much. Like, I was getting levels all the way down there, and I did not want to have to repeat that. So luckily, Brack saved the day for me.
To interrupt you on our reminiscent of the seed, but we've got two of our runners currently on the water floor in Topher. So both Life Reboot and Edgeworth are working their way through the floor.
This is awesome because Life Reboot's one of the recent Duckling graduates. So to see him kind of in Topher on the same floor, toe to toe with Edge, one of the previous like spring tournament champions, it's real exciting for Life Reboot. I'm freaking proud of him. It's really cool.
Oh yeah, especially to see him running a 3-man strat. That's very brave of him at this point. I gotta give him kudos for it.
Oh, but he turned the black belt into an evasion stack, so that's cool.
I mean, I don't think that black belt will be punching for 3,500, but hey, at least he can take a shot for that ninja.
Yeah. Well, there was katana. I mean, I don't know if Life Reboot opened all the chests that I did, but I did find a katana, I think in C on the somewhere. I think I found a katana.
Yeah, a lot of our runners, yourself included, you guys, like I was mentioning, all pretty much followed practically the same pathing through the seed. I think the only thing Edgeworth did that you didn't do was ordeals.
Okay. Yeah, I thought about it, but it didn't cross my mind until I was already in Sky, and I was like, oh crap, I forgot ordeals. And every like ice, marsh, waterfall all had a loose item, so I knew that the loose items weren't gonna necessarily turn into anything, but you never know if it's gonna be adamant or floater and your loot's in Cardia.
Yeah, and that was something we were contemplating while you were diving through Mirage and Sky. Well, even Life Reboot, because he was actually the first one to go to Mirage. So while you and Edgeworth went to Waterfall and Sea Shrine, Life Reboot went to Mirage and Sky first. So he was the first one to actually find the floater and also the loot. So up until that point, we were wondering, like, hey, wonder if loot's in Cardia somewhere, and it's no longer be a floaterless seed. It's going to be a floater required seed.
Yeah, I only went to C first because I didn't have houses. If I had had a house coming out of my cheeky little Blue D grind, I would have gone to Mirage and parked the house out front and done that. But and it would have been the right play because you could have go moded C in this seed.
Yeah, and I believe that's what Life Root did after he found the loot. I don't think he opened anything up in the Sea Shrine.
Yeah, that would have been a huge time save because there was nothing really worth picking up out of there.
Yeah, it didn't look like you found a lot there. We were disappointed there was so little to be had in either Kraken side or Mermaid side. So speaking of Kraken, looks like Edgeworth is just probably about done with his Kraken 2 battle. And Life Reboot pulling Tia 2. Ooh,
we're gonna use the last fast on Tia 2. It's a bold strategy. That might cost him a little bit of time.
Side by side, Tia 2. Who wins, Ninja or Black Belt?
Yeah, and the only thing I didn't see is if Life Reboot went back and picked up any black magic spells on his ninja. So I'm not sure if he's got a fast spell heading in there that he can cast on Chaos or not.
Yeah.
So, answer your question in chat with Wab. The loot was hidden on the left-hand side of Sky 3.
Yeah, and the free, like the very first chest in the free greed room.
Edgeworth through Tia 2. Life Reboot also through Tia 2. Nice hit out of Edgeworth's black belt, 630 on Chaos. But we know he's got somewhere between 3,600 and 7,100 health based on how much we saw Caleb punch him for. Ooh, that's something we didn't see earlier. Chaos with a nuke.
Uh-oh. That's a little terrifying.
So Life Reboot opting to throw up some Saber charges on his Knight, very smart. Or I'm sorry, on his Knight. Edgeworth continuing to punch Chaos, and ooh, 22-23 for the kill. Edgeworth finishing tonight in 5th place with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 53 minutes, and 27 seconds.
GG, Edge. GG. Yeah, the item magic in this seed was something else, man. Invis 2 hammers, the wall shirt, was it? Yeah. Or the wall defense sword.
Yeah, Cyrinus and I were discussing that at the start of the seed, just, throwing out how nice it was to have the white, or the guaranteed white mage with this item magic seed on.
Mm-hmm.
Simply because with, shuffling it, you may not get a white shirt, you may not get a defense sword. So it's nice to see some of those items and spells still landed where they did for the runners, for you guys rather, I should say.
Yeah, and the Saber Hammer, of course.
So Will Bloodworth taking on Kraken 1 on the top left-hand side, while Life Reboot continues to smack at Chaos with that Katana Ninja. Swapping to Brackstrats. And Nuke coming out. That is putting his ninja down on one knee. Hopefully we can get him back up off that knee.
Yeah. Drop a Cure 4 on him. Pick him back up. And get this swinging. I missed how much that damage was for on that.
69.
Yeah, you're really looking for those crits here, so not having fast, I think, is going to hurt him a little bit at this point. That was a nice big chunky hit, though. 6 hits for 795. Masa coming out with a 330 shot.
Oh, there you go.
You're getting a couple crits now. Looking a lot better.
Yeah, the Katana's chunking him down pretty quick.
Yeah, as soon as he gets a crit, he'll be doing all right.
Yeah.
Life Reboot taking out Chaos. It's like he comes in 6th place tonight. Official SRL time of 1 hour, 56 minutes, and 7 seconds.
GG, Reboot. GG.
Not bad times at all tonight. Lots of under 2 hours. Magic was pretty generous.
Mm-hmm. Who's responsible for these flags? Just out of curiosity.
That's a great question. I don't know myself.
Oh, neat.
They certainly aren't something I would have made. I never would turn off weapon fixes. Will headed over to his Sky Palace, gonna get a nice look at the last fiend he has to deal with today before going into
These were Gouda seeds. The commissioner of the Iron Gull.
I wonder if he's going to keep these in his pocket for an upcoming Iron Gall match.
They're pretty fun. You know, they definitely incentivize opening boxes. That's for sure.
Yeah, they're a little out there for me, but they certainly are different, which is what's so great about Iron Gull.
Absolutely. Joining us in the booth, Edgeworth. GG, sir.
Thanks.
GG, Edge.
GG.
It finally happened, Edge.
Yeah, no, I only had to open every chest in the game outside of Temple of Fiends, but it happened.
Me too, except ordeals and the floater lock stuff. But yeah, I was right there with you, man. That was a heck of
the floater lock stuff, the basement of Marsh, yeah, all that. It's all
I
great.
did the basement of Marsh too. Found the blue D, and that's where I got my 32 on the black belt, and it was a little slow because I couldn't get the other mages down, so it was just 4-person grind.
So, can anyone explain why there wasn't a sale item?
I think because only weapons were incentivized, and an item shop can't sell a weapon. So I found double heals for sale in OnRack. So I was assuming that was in place of the vendor item.
That's how I understood it as well, yep.
Okay, because I looked at the flags, and there was nothing to indicate that there wasn't a vendor item. So I had to go back into Sky and find the loot.
Yeah, I knew that I was digging just for loot, and when I found the floater, it was in my head that I was gonna have to go to like Cardia or like a Lupa check or something. Like that was gonna roll, the Lupa man was gonna roll the box that had the loot, and then I just kept opening boxes in Sky until I found the loot and got lucky.
Also joining us in chat, Life Reboot. GG, sir.
Hey, GG, thank you.
Yeah, GG Life Reboot. That was a really impressive run, man.
So I gotta ask, what were your thoughts going in, Life? I think you were the only on-stream person who kind of dedicated themselves to doing the 3-man grind. I think or not the 3-man grind, but the 3-man run. Like Edgeworth did it a bit, but I think you kind of did almost the majority of the seed.
Yeah, I took my party to the Peninsula of Power, not really planning to kill off my black belt, but he died, and I just figured, you know what, I value the thief and his ability to run. I'm not sure with these flags if I'm going to find a good place, a good tile to grind, so I just decided at that point I wasn't going to res my black belt.
Gotcha. I mean, it seemed like it paid off for you. Aside from I think you were one of the few on-stream runners that didn't do any kind of grind that I saw per se, but you still got a nice chunk of levels when you got your Warmet kill. So I believe you still had your ninja low to mid 30s by the time you got into Tover.
Yeah.
So that kind of worked out well for you.
Yeah, I was kind of playing it by ear, but I felt good about it throughout.
So we've heard a little bit from both Caleb and Edgeworth tonight, but how'd you feel about the flags?
I liked these flags. I thought that maybe I was having a little bit of a misunderstanding when I was turning in things and they were giving me gold, but that is a sort of part of the seed that is just a scavenger hunt for those entrance items to Topher, and I was full clearing Earth and full cleared Volcano with the exception of the Red Dragon chest, and then I decided that Sky would be my next choice after maybe stopping in at some of the lesser dungeons, but yeah, Ice Cave was full of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the red D chest had the herb, which got me excited for a second, and then it turned into a pure potion. So it's a fun way to learn who the incentive main NPCs are compared to the fetch quest NPCs.
Yeah, I actually made the same mistake, and chat had to point it out too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I knew it was going to be an item, but I was still kind of hoping, because even though they're a loose item can still end up on them, they basically just become treasure chests.
Yeah, we were debating how that worked at one point in time. So it was interesting seeing a lot of you guys run through. There was a number of you guys who were going through and prioritizing, not really prioritizing, but you would always route in some of the fetch quest turn-ins after you cleared a dungeon.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. So it's like 7 NPCs you check. It's the king, the princess, Bicky, Sarda, the old man, the vendor, and
The robot.
the robot. Yeah. Basically anybody that you talk to, and that just gives you an item without you having to bring them something.
Will gonna be picking up his loot here in probably the next minute or two.
Yeah, at least he's being thorough here.
Yeah, it'll just be interesting to see which direction he goes on Sky 3. If he checks the left side first and hopes something's in there, if he goes and does right side, top side, then left side.
Yeah, I'd assume right, top, left. And then we'll get to see how Will likes this war mech tonight, who was not the pushover that we sometimes see.
Yeah, I think of everyone that we've seen fight Warmech so far, I think Caleb's had the easiest time of it, but I think you also had the highest level black belt at that particular time, so it's kind of a self-explanatory there.
Yeah, he was punching at 42 at that point.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, your black belt had around like 880 HP at one point, or
Yeah,
going
he
into
was-
that fight, and I think he got decked for half his HP in one shot.
Yeah, but luckily we had like 3,800 cure force to use, so
Yeah, that fight was great. My black mage got back road turn 1, and then I just had the whole day while I did 2 hits for 126 damage.
ooh. Yeah, I brought I kept the black belt and the white mage, and I brought double red. Figured if white magic rolled well, I'd drop one of the reds, and if black magic and white magic was friendly, I would drop the white, and never stuck with just the 3-man party.
Yeah, you were the only person to take that double red mage comp, at least on screen here for our restreamed runners. Pretty much everyone else settled on that thief black belt red white party. Edris just had that black mage thrown in instead of the red mage, I believe.
Yeah, I was mixing it up with these kinds of, well, not with just these kinds of flags, but with anything lately. I've been running double black white, and I wanted to get back in touch with the red mages and remember why I like them so much, and this was a good seed for that.
Ooh, Warmech zeroing in on the poor little white mage in the back row right off the bat on the first round of combat with Will. And I'm not sure if Will has the saber hammer either.
It was like free right out the gate. I think that was Princess or King gave you that.
Yeah, I believe it was the princess.
I should have just sold that.
I thought about selling the Confused shirt, but I was like, well, carry. So
Yeah,
kept it.
and then it doesn't matter when you find Masmian in the treasure.
Yeah, basically. And level 1 nuke, did its thing.
Yeah, level 1 nuke was doing a lot of work, but we also noticed there was a number of enemies throughout this seed that rolled extra beefy, especially in Ice Cave. I think some of the undead packs in there were, I think one nuke rolled through and rolled everybody in the 200 to 300 range, and half the mobs were still standing.
Yeah, how about those worms and Earth? I think they had like 1100 HP. They had Expert and Thunder, which was real fun with the double ribbon combo.
Yeah, they gave a lot of you a lot of trouble. I think Will's the only one that took down a pack.
Wow. Grey Worms too had a lot of HP. This was a big worm seed.
And you didn't really want to tangle with any of them. So Will in go mode. Wonder if he's been doing a little bit of shopping before he dives on in, or if he's going to go through and do some maintenance mode before he jumps into Topher.
Did anybody find gold bracelets, or were they in Gaia? Because I think I only skipped Crescent Lake, and I never found gold bracelets.
Found an opal bracelet. That was nice.
Oh, nice. Where was that? In like Ordeals or Cardia?
That was in Cardia. Yeah, I found that after I turned the ruby in.
I'm sorry, it just that's pretty brutal, man.
Yeah, the ruby landed in the Ordeals incentive chest tonight, and that led to Titans who had 3 boxes of cash and a soft potion, and then Sarda gave us the opal bracelet. But I think the only runners we've seen so far on stream that have gone and picked up the airship were both Edge and Life Reboot, but I don't think either of them happened to hop into the armor shop in Gaia. But I think we saw every other shop, so I'm pretty sure you're right on the nose with your assumption that gold bracelets were in Gaia.
Yeah. They would have been nice, but not necessary.
It doesn't matter, it's clap stats. If your mage gets punched, they're gonna die anyway.
Yeah, it's true. I think I had it might have been after 1 or 2 evasions, but my like level 50 red mage soaked a hit from Kraken or Tia. That was pretty impressive.
Where did you find the levels? Because I sure as hell didn't find any good place to grind.
The Blue D's in Marsh Basement, I got me to 32 across the board, and then Kraken killed a red and a white, and I barely escaped my Kraken fight, which is the only reason I didn't forfeit. But then I 2-manned Sky until I hit 42, and then I picked everyone back up, and Warmech I think got me to like 44, 45, and then fights through Topher got me the rest of the way. Yeah, my party was so over leveled. I think the red wizard or the red mage was like 48, the black belt was 47, 46, and the other 2 mages were still like 38. I did try to do the vampire grind too in Northwest, but that was just basically to get me to 21, like mid 20s, and just burning off nukes.
Yeah, I believe on stream both you and Will did the vampire grind with your full party, pretty much standing the entire time.
Yeah, the white mage went down, and then I would pick it back up just to use its cure 4s and then let it get punched back down. But yeah, it wasn't a very effective grind because I wasn't at the 200% yet either.
This Frost Giant Frostwolf pack is not being friendly to Will at the moment. Fired 2, they're all going first. I believe they even got an ambush on them too, so that's just wasting all kinds of time.
While we watch Will finish out the rest of this Topher, just take a minute to shout out. Coming up later this month, we do have our spring tournament starting. And you do still have time to sign up, any of you out there that enjoy this kind of content and haven't signed up yet.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you want to sign up, you can just go to FinalFantasyRandomizer.com. The devs put a link right up to the sign up page on the front page of the randomizer. So really easy way to find it, or you can join us on our Discord. There's all sorts of information there too. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm excited about spring tournament.
Yeah, and the sign-up deadline's coming up in just a little bit over a week and a half, so if you want to join us for what's looking like it might be 6 weeks of fun before we even get into the bracket stage, make sure you sign up before, midnight Pacific on the 15th?
Yep. It's already shaping up to be the largest spring tournament Final Fantasy Randomizer community has hosted, so it's gonna be a lot of fun. There's a lot of new faces, got a lot of vets coming back. It's pretty neat.
So we'll make short work of Lich 2. I don't think he even bothered to heal up for the first 3 floors before even taking that Lich fight.
There ain't no time to heal up. We gotta go fast.
Alright, yeah, he does have that saber hammer on his black belt. Alright. Alright, carry 2. Invis 2, punch. Looks like we're doing a fast on the black belt. Another Invis 2 cat. Swool's black belt didn't quite hit the same levels that Caleb's did, so we may not see as much just sheer decimation from him, but he's still going to pack a number on a lot of these fiends. None of them really seem to have a whole lot of absorb to speak of.
I also was getting really lucky with turn order, the way the fasts were hitting right before the black belt punched. Felt really good. I usually don't get that lucky in Topher.
Yeah, I think you got a number of the fiend fights that not only had your fast land first, but also had your tempers land first as well.
Mm-hmm. That might be a world record Topher for me.
Yeah, right as you were finishing, people were asking in chat if you broke the 5-minute mark or not for your Topher dive, and I think we all agreed you were under 5 minutes for the run through Topher from start to finish.
Yeah, I'm looking at my splits, and I downed Tia 2 at 1:33:41, and then finished the seed 7 minutes later. So that includes like sailing from Mirage and walking over there. So it's close for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We did make note of your river usage there near Matoya's. That was very clever to do that to save off a lot of sailing time.
Yeah, there was no way I was getting the airship. It didn't make any sense.
Yeah, we were discussing it during the seed is if you had found Floater before you killed your 4th fiend, we all feel like you probably would have gotten the airship out of the ground, but since we found it where we did, there was, like you said, really no point, especially with your party comp.
Yeah, I was trying to run it through my head because I did find the tail, I think, in C, and I was like, well, is it worth promoting at all? Because I'm gonna find the floater probably, and nothing in my head told me that I should promote.
Yeah, a lot of the really vital spells all fell within the first 5 levels anyways, so you don't really gain a whole lot aside from
Yeah.
a couple different gear differences for your characters.
Like if I had only found like a Vorpal or something, then maybe. But yeah, the double sun swords and Masa were nice to get best in slot weapons for those red wizards or red mages.
Two rounds is all it took for Will to knock out Kraken 2. Sure he'll be looking to do the same thing to Tia 2 here in just a second.
Yeah, approaching that level 42 mark, but ain't gonna hit it today, it looks like.
You never know. You might hit Iron Goal or something. Or not. Yeah, I also gave up on encounter manipulating because the encounter table is pretty terrible for me. So I don't know if anybody else, if we all saw the same or all saw different Tovers or not.
I feel like Edge and Life may have been on a pretty similar encounter table. They both hit the seafood party platter fight at approximately right around the same time on the seafloor. And speaking of Iron Galls,
Did it.
Will Budworth making his way around Chaos's chambers. Gonna get situated. Gonna pull the big man in just a minute, and we're gonna see how this fight goes for him. So we do know that Chaos has a, I think it's second spell slot nuke,
Yeah,
but I don't think any of his characters are low enough to where it has to worry him at all.
yeah, he should be alright.
Starting off with Invis 2, Invis 2, fast on the black belt and saber hammer.
It's a pretty good turn order.
Yep, more of the same second round, more Invis 2's going out, try to hitting that evade stack after the 6th cast of Invis 2. It's got one more to go. Chaos already missing though, so that's a good sign. Temper comes out, black belt punches, 10 hits, 1537. That's a good way to start the fight. His Temper is doing great turn order for him. 12 hits, 2084. So we're up to the 3500 HP mark now.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, there we go.
Hey, GG, Will.
We get Will Bloodworth in here to join us. Should be in just a second.
Watching Edge decompress.
Hopefully he doesn't decompress too much.
I was waiting to pull me up here.
Oh, you're good. Will, GG, sir.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. Oh. Ow.
I think that's a good summary for what a lot of people were feeling during this seed.
Oh. I don't really feel like I did anything necessarily wrong except for go to the last possible place I could go at the last possible moment.
I think it's interesting because we heard similar comments from Caleb and from Life Reboot and from Edge when he was in here as well.
Yeah, that's very weird. Well, I went almost everywhere you could go in the inner sea before leaving and going anywhere else. But yeah, I cleared everything that didn't require an airship. Literally.
Yeah, and with airship falling so late, there wasn't really a whole lot of benefit to picking it up out of the desert and flying
No.
around with it, since most of our runners, that was in the very last thing they saw.
Yeah, exactly.
So that being said, what'd you think of the flags tonight? What'd you think of how everything fell out?
Well, I liked the flags. I hated how things fell out, but yeah, I felt like my party comp was actually fine considering the seed, considering what we had. Topher was a walk in the park for me. I don't know if it was tough for anybody else, but it was super easy. I didn't really have a lot of problems with enemies. It was just finding stuff.
Yeah, I think Topher was pretty straightforward for most of our runners. I think Life Reboot had the roughest time of it, of the 4 on-stream runners, just because he went with a Thief 3-man party. And so his Thief was low to mid-30s by the time he pulled Chaos, and the Katana wasn't quite working out until the last few rounds of comp.
Yeah, there's a reason for that. The weapon fixes are off. So Katana's just a limp noodle. It doesn't have the crit rate that it would have with the weapon fixes on. That's why I didn't use it.
Right, but yeah, it still got us through, so...
Yeah. I think a lot of people missed that flag. That's why I was rocking the Masa for so long and didn't bother with class change, or try to, take the floater, turn in the tail, and actually class change, because it wouldn't have made a big difference anyway.
Yeah, it's
I
an easy
indeed
one to
did miss
miss.
that flag.
What was that?
I definitely indeed did miss that flag. This is life.
Yeah, Artea pointed that out in the IRC chat, so I don't think I would have caught it. He did.
Definitely made the black belt better too, because my black belt was punching.
Yup. Yeah. So did everybody else find the vampires to grind on?
Yes, but
Okay.
that wasn't my grind.
Oh, what did you grind on?
I did that for a little bit, and then I did I did Marsh Bottom, and I found Blue D's in the bottom right room that had like 280 HP, and then that got me to 32 across the board, and then Kraken 1 dropped me to a 2-man party, and then Sky I 2-manned until I got 42, and Maya punched her way through the world. It was amazing.
Can only imagine. Yeah, I took the vampires to like 26, 27, and I got to 32 just in natural fights. Easily. I think I finished the game like the mid to high 30s. Yeah. Like I said, there was really no problem anywhere. Just finding stuff. That was the big problem.
Yeah, the sneaky loot was yeah.
I think a good 45 minutes of my run was looking for the damn loot. That's very frustrating.
I should have listened to my inner Fizzle and Spell Zap and Crab Cakes and done Sky before C. But,
Yep. I literally same.
But had I had a house, I would have. But
Right.
that's what kept me from going there.
Oh, just a lack of a house?
Yeah, because
Oh.
I was coming to Onrak and Mirage area after my Blue D grind, and I had saved it, but I didn't have spell charges, so I was like, let me go to Onrak because I can at least rest in the end and then do Waterfall and see. And
Right.
But yeah, I should have done Sky first.
Yep.
It would have saved me 15 minutes probably.
Yeah, we were having a big discussion about routing after you guys had cleared Volcano and Ice Cave, because I think at that point in time we had the ship, the canal, we had the chime, we had the rod, we had the cube.
Yep.
We had the Oxyel too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
'cause
could have
you
gone
guys found
literally
that.
anywhere we
was-
wanted to go. We could have gone.
Yeah, Oxyel was in key locked Canaria.
Yep. So I mean, just shows you, sky. It may not always be a meme. It might be the right play.
It's mathematically the right play. But, I knew I was playing against people who were going to use the math, and I needed to go against the math to find what I needed. That did not pay off, as it turns out.
Yeah, it rarely will, but I was in the same boat, dude.
Yeah, that's all right though. So let's start wrapping things up here. We got everyone on stream done. I think IRC room is basically shutting down at this point. So
Yeah.
Life Reboot, you have any final thoughts for the seed? Anything else you want to highlight from your race?
I have 2 takeaways from this. Basically, that I should read that flag for the weapon fixes, and also that if you pick up the ship in Ice Cave, it drops your boat at Provoca.
Mhm.
It was
Yeah,
a learning seed for me.
A good way to remember where your ship's going to show up is if you can imagine the vanilla game without the map edits. If you can walk there, that's where your boat's going to be.
Right.
So if it's in the volcano, it's going to be at Elfland, because you can walk there with the canoe. You can't walk to Provoca from volcano in the vanilla game.
Right.
Very
And
good.
yeah, that's the way to remember it.
That's a good way to remember that. That's a nice little tip there. Will, anything you want to add to this conversation?
Yeah, this is why I retired from regular flag sets, and here I am still running them like an idiot. I'm supposed to be retired from this stuff,
You
but
keep using that word, Will.
I know it does not mean what I think it means. No, I jump in these races to kill some time. I know I'm not going to be competitive because I don't run that way, but I didn't figure I'd be this non-competitive. It was brutal. I should have taken a none just for fun. Or a 2-man, maybe a 1. Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
You did fine. Caleb, any last thoughts?
No, just like Cyrenus pointed out earlier, if you're out there watching, you want to get in on the action, come join us on our Discord, sign up for the spring tournament. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be our biggest spring tournament. And there's a lot of exciting stuff coming up. So come be a part of Discord and hang out with us and see these iron goal matches and get in on the action.
I killed an iron goal, by the way. I don't
Yeah.
think I saw that.
We did. Caleb cursed you for it too.
Yeah, I called it out because you were really close to 42. I was like, maybe he'll hit an iron goal, and then you hit an iron goal.
Nice call.
So, yeah.
I wasn't expecting it, that's for sure.
But yeah, thank you, Ale and Cyrenus, for coming together in the 11th hour to do the commentary, and Ragnarok for blowing off his college course to come track the race for us. We definitely appreciate that level of effort and dedication.
Yeah, absolutely. And like Caleb mentioned, come check us out, FinalFantasyRandomizer.com. You've got links to the Discord in there. Got a number of different seeds you can race. You've got a number of different people who are more than willing and able to help out and are eager and happy to help people learn the random. We've got a listing of upcoming races. We've got a number of other races going on this week. As Caleb mentioned, we have our spring tournament coming up.
Yeah, that's, if anything, Ale, that's the number one reason to come to the Discord, because you can get the spectator role, so you won't miss any race, whether it's restreamed or through the multi-stream on Twitch. Like, you won't miss anything if you join and just do that, if nothing else.
Absolutely. And some of these races come together at the last minute, so if you want to get all the FFR action you can, that's the place to be. So, final thoughts for me. I'd just like to thank Speed Gaming for hosting us tonight, as always, for our Tuesday night weekly runs. Thanks all our runners tonight. You guys put on a heck of a show. I'm El Markin. Cyrenus had to step out, but thank you guys for tuning in, and hope you guys have a great week.